welcome back to Krista's Kitchen. So today we're going to make a little Valentine's treat for my kiddos. This is a treat that we made at a friend of mine's house this weekend and it turned out to be a huge hit. So today we're going to make some edible cookie dough treats, or truffles, whatever you want to call them. But the edible part of this is it doesn't have any of the eggs in it. I know the majority of us still eat cookie dough, even though it tells us not to. But this is a version that's going to be safe to do it without worrying if you're eating the raw eggs or if you're not. And that's really important more when it comes to your children too. But I'm going to move y'all closer to the mixer so y'all can see what all's going in, and we'll get it started. But hopefully this is going to be a really cute treat. Okay, y'all, so the first thing that we're going to get going in the stand mixer is a stick of softened butter, or a half a cup. So if you don't have the stick butter, it's just a half of a cup. We're going to drop that right in, then we're going to add our sugar to it and get it creamed up. And 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. And let that mix together for just a few minutes. We're going to add in a tablespoon of vanilla extract while this is going around, and 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. Okay, we're just scraping our bowl again, and next we're going to add our peanut butter. Now, if you don't like peanut butter, or if you have a peanut allergy, you can just leave this part out. It will be just as delicious without the peanut butter, but the peanut butter gives it a little bit extra flavor. Or if you like almond butter or anything else like that, you can use that instead. But we're going to use 4 tablespoons-ish of peanut butter. And no, I'm not going to measure, just use a regular tablespoon. Okay, y'all. Now we're going to slowly incorporate in 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Since we're going to be eating this raw, like I said, slowly. But I choose to do a little bit better quality flour whenever I'm making something like this. This is not really a messy recipe, but I'm making it one today. This is something that your kiddos could easily help with too. My son helped me make this the other day with the chocolate coating part of it, which we're going to try it a little bit different today. I want to experiment and see if I can make it easier to dip the chocolate, because we had some trouble with, and it may have been the heat from our hands, it's most likely the trouble we were having, but we were having trouble getting it to look pretty once we were dipping them. Now again, it's me and a 3-year-old doing it last time, so that could have been part of the reason also. So I'm going to scrape down all the edges one last time, and then we're going to add in the chocolate chips and pull it out of the bowl. I just want to make sure we're getting everything well incorporated and we don't have any lumps of flour or lumps of sugar anything like that. Now you could really just eat it straight out of the bowl like this if you want. Alright, now let's add our chocolate chips. Now I'm going to add one 10-ounce bag of chocolate chips. And I just want them to fold in. So don't turn your mixer up too high because you don't want to break these all into little bitty pieces. But just to get them folded in. So we're going to move this to the fridge and let it start to firm up, and then we're going to spread some of them out onto a sheet pan, and we're going to do some in a little mold. But I will move y'all over to the table so we can see that a little bit better. So we'll see y'all back in just a few minutes. Okay, y'all, so we're going to try two different techniques for this. The technique that I used the other day was that I just put the cookie dough down in the little mold, put them in the freezer, let them harden, and then I dipped it in chocolate. But we're going to do it a little bit different. I had trouble getting all of the sides coated and making it look nice and pretty. So I figured I might try and pour a little bit of chocolate down into the bottom, harden it, then put the cookie dough so that whenever I dip it, I'm not worried about that bottom part not being covered because it will be already covered from this. And maybe it'll help them pop out as well. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use about half of it to roll it out and use a little heart cookie cutter to see if that's easy and just avoid the whole mold altogether. Now this, I just found this at Walmart in the Valentine section, obviously. But I'm going to get started and get it all going. Now I am going to let them sit in the freezer for a couple of hours just to harden up because last time I did about 30 minutes. And they got very soft on us very quickly. So I'm going to see if I can get them super hard and then finish with all of the chocolate. But we're going to get started. Beautiful. Now we're going to move that over and get started on this part. So I'm just using a large pan with some parchment paper, and I'm going to put about half of the cookie dough down on it. Well, I probably only need one of the sheets of parchment paper. But I'm going to put the cookie dough down on it and try and roll it kind of flat out, just so we can end up cutting that with a cookie cutter and seeing how that compares. And the only reason I'm doing two different techniques is I want to see which one is easier to stick to for the future, or just to have different options. Maybe you don't have a silicone mold in your kitchen or you can't find one. And this also makes it so that if you find cookie cutters for another season, then you could always do this for like Easter eggs or something. It doesn't just have to be for Valentine's Day. I'm sure if you watched the beginning, you saw the brown sugar in the little bag. That's from a local cane sugar producer in the area. I just want to encourage y'all, if y'all can shop local and support your small businesses, now I think is the time more than ever to really remind them that it might be cheaper and easier to get from Walmart and things like that. Believe me, I shop at those kind of places too. I'm not saying I don't. But some things like that, I worry so much about the local farmer or the small business person getting booted out because of economic times right now. So just if you can, even if it's just one or two things, not everybody can change everything that they do, but just one or two things. And I think if everybody does that, then our system will be so much better off. And plus, you get to know people, you build those relationships, and they ask you for a cake every now and again when you make something with their products. So just try and support local if you can. Alright, y'all. So we're going to get this put in the freezer and let it harden up. We're going to get that put in the freezer for just a few minutes and let it solidify so that we can put this cookie dough down on top of that. So I'll see y'all back shortly. Okay, y'all, so the little chocolate bottoms of our hearts have hardened. Ooh, excuse me. So we're going to add the cookie dough on top. And looking at it, I'm not sure if I'll fill up the whole tray this time. This last weekend, I filled up the tray twice. But we're doing a little bit different. So we shall see. So I'm just going to press it all into each individual little heart and get them filled. So we'll see y'all later. Okay, y'all, so we're going to go ahead and start popping these out of the mold. They've been freezing for a couple of hours and they turned out really good. Much better than the first time I had done them without that layer of chocolate. And as you can see by the little frost on the outside of this, I've had this sitting out for a few minutes. But we're just popping these all out, and these would be cute just as they are. But I'm going to see if I can do like a chocolate pour to coat the other sides and how that turns out. Okay, y'all, so I lost y'all for a little bit, but we got these hearts completely covered, and I think next time I definitely won't. I'll just leave that bottom side covered because that was so much prettier and the final product looked so much better. But it's done. You live and you learn. But our cookie dough that we had, this little heart cutter that I have just isn't cutting it. So I'm letting it thaw a little bit more, and I just added a little more chocolate into the mold, and we're just going to go ahead and press this into it almost like we did the first batch, but I tried to go all the way up the sides with it this time. So I want to see if I can coat it a little bit better on the back side. If nothing else, they're all edible, so they'll still, I'm sure they'll still be enjoyed. But I want to make them pretty if I can. So we're just pulling all these little pieces and getting the hearts filled. Alright, y'all. So I'm going to melt this little bit of chocolate down and see how far we get with coating the back of some of these to see if we can seal them up. I'll wash my hands first. We'll see y'all back in a minute. Okay, so we're just going to take just a little bit of this chocolate and spread it across the back side of each, and hopefully these turn out better than the other ones that we just did. I want to try and make it as smooth on the back as I can. I want it to lay flat if possible, and I am okay with taking a little warm knife to the back of this. Yes, ma'am.
Can I eat the rest of your bite?
Yes. Okay, so my favorite version is still probably going to be just that undercoating with the cookie dough on top. But I'm going to stick these in the freezer for a few minutes. Then we'll pop them out and trim the edges and see how pretty they turned out. The rest of this cookie dough, I'm just going to wrap up and put in the freezer, and we'll figure out something else that we want to do with it. And we'll end up using it all up. Okay, y'all, so we're going to flip them over and just kind of pop them out. And see if we can break off the little excess around the edge. And hopefully we got them all nice and coated. If they did coat pretty well, now I know the underside is not going to be pretty, but once we work on perfecting this, we'll get it down pat. But if we got them all coated well, this may be the method that I use from now on. Now, like I said, the one side with the exposed cookie dough was so pretty. The only issue is it's very messy if you have the exposed cookie dough, whereas the chocolate will stack and it'll present better if you're giving it as a gift or passing them out. The cookie dough ones with it exposed, you would probably need to stack them individually, maybe even in cupcake liners or something. But these, I like the matte finish they have to them also. Like you're going to get a little surprise on the inside. So, let's see. Just going to kind of shave the edges a little bit. You don't have to get it perfect, but just get some of these bigger pieces